Let me start with a simple truth. Most people don't lack money. They lack understanding. They work harder. They stay longer. They sacrifice more. And yet, their income barely moves. Now let me ask you something important. If effort alone made people rich, wouldn't the hardest working people be the wealthiest? But they're not. You don't get paid by the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. A 1,000% increase in income sounds impossible, unrealistic, even offensive to some people because they've been taught to think small. Raise, promotion, increment, small changes, small thinking, small results. But income doesn't grow because you want it to. It grows because you deserve it. That may sound harsh, but it's honest. Income is the reward for value, not need, not desire, not hope. If you want more money, become more valuable. And here's the part most people never hear. You don't increase your income by chasing money. You increase it by changing yourself, by learning, by growing, by sharpening your skills, by solving bigger problems. When you do that, money follows automatically. This is not about gambling. It's not about shortcuts. It's not about overnight success. It's about principles. And principles always pay. So today, we're going to talk about a formula, not a fantasy. A formula that has worked for decades. For ordinary people willing to become extraordinary. If you apply it, your income will increase. Not by accident, not by luck, but by design. Stay with me. Because once you understand how income really grows, you'll never settle for small money again. And that's where the 1,000% formula begins. Let's begin with the truth. Income does not grow by accident. It grows by design. Most people want more money. Few want to become more. That's the gap. And that gap explains almost every financial struggle. You see, early in life, we are taught something dangerous. We are taught to trade time for money, hours for wages, effort for pay. And we think, if I just work harder, I'll earn more. But years pass. The hours increase. The effort increases. And the income barely moves. Why? Because income does not follow effort. Income follows value. You don't get paid for how hard you work. You get paid for how hard you are to replace. That one idea can change your life. Let me explain. If you bring little value, you earn little income. If you bring average value, you earn average income. But if you bring exceptional value, your income can multiply, not by 10%, not by 20%, but by 1,000%. And that's not theory. That's law. Think about it. The marketplace doesn't reward need. It doesn't reward hope. It doesn't reward effort. It rewards usefulness. It rewards skill. It rewards results. So the first step in the 1,000% formula is not asking for more money. It's asking a better question. How valuable have I become? Most people never ask that. They ask, why don't they pay me more? But the better question is, why should they? Harsh? Yes. But honest. And honesty is where growth begins. Early in my life, I learned a painful lesson. If you want your income to change, you must change first. Not your job, not your boss, not the economy, you. If you don't change, nothing changes. That's the formula in its simplest form. Income is the mirror. It reflects who you are becoming, your skills, your attitude, your discipline, your judgment, your ability to solve problems. And here's where most people miss it. They try to increase income. Without increasing capacity, they want bigger rewards with the same abilities. That never works. You must grow into higher income. Income is attracted to growth, not wished into existence. So how do you start? You start by working harder on yourself than you do on your job. Read more, learn more, practice more. Develop skills that are rare, skills that matter, skills that solve real problems. Because the size of your income is directly tied to the size of problems you can solve. Small problems, small pay. Big problems, big pay. That's the marketplace speaking. Not opinion, not motivation, law. Here's another truth. Time is limited. Value is not. You can only work so many hours, but you can increase your value endlessly. That's how income multiplies. Not by adding hours, but by multiplying worth. And once you understand that, everything changes. You stop asking for raises. You start building value. You stop begging for opportunity. You become the opportunity. You stop blaming circumstances. You start upgrading yourself. And slowly, quietly, predictably, your income begins to rise. At first, it's small, then noticeable, then surprising. And one day, you look back and realize your income didn't jump overnight. It compounded. Because growth always compounds. That's the first piece of the 1000% formula. Increase your value relentlessly, deliberately, daily. Do that, and income has no choice. But to follow, let's talk about skills, not motivation, not wishful thinking. Skills, because skills are the currency of income. You can lose money, you can lose a job, you can lose a position, but if you keep your skills, you keep your future. Most people don't understand this. They protect their paycheck, but they neglect their abilities. That's dangerous. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Those words changed how I looked at learning. I realized something important. Income does not increase because time passes. Income increases because you improve. And improvement comes from learning. Every skill you add is a multiplier. One skill by itself has value, but skills stacked together multiply that value. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary income, not by talent alone, but by deliberate learning. Think about the highest earners. They communicate well. They solve problems. They make decisions. They manage people. They manage resources. They persuade. They lead. None of those are accidents. They are learned skills. And here's the hard truth. The marketplace pays more for skills that are rare. If everyone can do it, it doesn't pay much. If few can do it well, it pays very well. So the question becomes simple. What skills are you developing? Skills that are easy or skills that are valuable? Early in life, I learned the wrong formula. Work hard, stay loyal, wait patiently. But patience without growth leads to stagnation. Loyalty without value leads to disappointment. Hard work without skill leads to exhaustion. That's why so many people are tired, but still broke. They're working, but they're not learning. You must learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's the shift. When you invest in learning, income follows. Not immediately, but inevitably. Skills compound, just like money. At first, you don't see much change. You read, you study, you practice, and nothing seems different. But something is happening. You are becoming more capable, more confident, more valuable. Then one opportunity appears, and suddenly you're ready. Most people miss opportunity because they weren't prepared. Skills are preparation. They turn chance into income. And here's another key. Don't learn randomly. Learn intentionally. Ask yourself, what skill would increase my value the most? Communication, sales, leadership, problem solving, management, technology, negotiation? Choose wisely, because the right skill can change everything. One new ability can double your income. 2 can multiply it. 3 can transform your life. And here's the beauty of skills. No one can take them from you. Not a boss, not a company, not an economy. They travel with you wherever you go. That's real security. So stop asking for permission to learn. Stop waiting for training. Take responsibility. Read books. Listen to mentors. Practice daily. Apply immediately. Because learning without action is entertainment. But learning with action is transformation. And transformation is what income responds to. That's the skill multiplier. Learn more. Become more. Earn more. Every time. Let's talk about problems. Not your problems. The problems you can solve for others. Because here's the truth. Income is a reward. Not for need. Not for effort. But for problem solving. Small problems bring small pay. Big problems bring big pay. It's simple. The size of your paycheck is tied to the size of the problems you solve. Think about it. A janitor solves cleaning problems. He earns a wage. A software engineer solves complex problems. He earns thousands. An entrepreneur solves huge problems. He earns millions. The marketplace always rewards impact, not hours, not effort. Impact. Your income rarely exceeds your personal development. That's because solving problems requires skill. It requires judgment. It requires courage. It requires responsibility. And responsibility is what most people avoid. They stick to tasks. They stick to instructions. They avoid risk. And so, their pay remains small. Let me share a personal story. Early in my career, I worked for someone else. I was loyal. I was hardworking. I followed instructions perfectly. And yet, I noticed something. The people who earned more, they weren't working longer hours. They weren't luckier. They were solving bigger problems. They were taking responsibility that others refused. They were creating solutions. They were making things happen. And the rewards followed. That's the key. Stop asking, how can I get paid more? Start asking, what problem can I solve that matters? Big problems require courage. Big problems require creativity. Big problems require thinking beyond yourself. And here's the beauty of this principle. The bigger the problem you solve, the fewer people can solve it. That means your value skyrockets. And your income follows. This is why leaders earn more than followers. Leaders solve bigger problems. They take on responsibility. They move people, resources, and ideas. Followers. They do the work. But the rewards? Much smaller. So how do you start? Look around. Where is there pain? Where is there inefficiency? Where is there a need? Then ask yourself, do I have the skills to solve this? If not, learn. If yes, step up. Take ownership. Create a solution. Deliver results. And notice this. People will pay for results, not effort, not intention. Results. That's why I say, if you want to increase your income 1,000%, learn to solve problems 1,000% bigger than you are used to. It's a mindset shift. Most people see obstacles. You must see opportunities. Most people avoid responsibility. You must embrace it. Most people chase security. You must create value. Here's the secret. The bigger the problem, the bigger the impact. The bigger the impact, the bigger the reward. It's always proportional, always fair, always predictable. The world does not cheat. It rewards those who can deliver. And there's another truth. Solving big problems develops you. It stretches your mind. It stretches your confidence. It stretches your courage. And that growth compounds income even further. Because your ability to handle bigger challenges grows every time you take one on. So stop thinking small. Stop doing what everyone else is doing. Look for the bigger problem. Step into the bigger responsibility. Deliver solutions. Be the one others rely on. And income, respect, and opportunity will follow automatically. Remember this. Money is attracted to impact, not effort, not promises, not excuses. Impact. Solve problems. Serve others. Create value. And your income will rise exponentially. Let's talk about deserving. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't just hand out money. You earn it. Not by wishing, not by hoping, not by wanting. You earn it by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. Most people focus on money. They focus on income. They focus on results. And they wonder why nothing changes. The missing piece? You. Your level of income will rarely exceed your level of personal development. It's not the boss. It's not the economy. It's not luck. It's you. Think about it. People pay for value, but they don't just pay for skills. They pay for character. They pay for reliability. They pay for judgment. They pay for trust. And those qualities come from who you are becoming, not what you do, not what you have, who you are. Early in life, I chased money. I worked long hours. I tried to impress my boss. I thought effort would bring results. It didn't. I learned a hard lesson. Effort without growth only buys exhaustion. I realized that if I wanted more income, I needed to be more. I needed to upgrade myself. And that upgrade wasn't just skills. It was mindset. It was attitude. It was discipline. It was character. The better you become, the more the world will reward you. And here's the principle. The marketplace doesn't just reward ideas. It rewards people who can execute, people who can handle responsibility, people who can lead, people who can solve problems bigger than themselves. Those are the people who deserve 1,000% more. So how do you become that person? Start with small disciplines. Do the things most people refuse to do. Show up when others quit. Learn when others rest. Serve when others resist. That's how character is built. That's how judgment is sharpened. That's how reliability is proven. And as you grow, income follows. Because the world recognizes value, not excuses, not intentions, not promises, but consistency. And here's another truth. Deserving more also means taking responsibility for your actions, for your results, for your growth. No blaming the economy. No blaming your boss. No blaming luck. You must own it all, because only then can you change it all. Deserving more also means expanding your vision. Stop thinking small. Stop playing safe. Stop limiting yourself to what's comfortable. The bigger your vision, the more your mind grows, the more your abilities expand, the more income naturally follows. And here's a secret most people never learn. Deserving 1,000% more is not about waiting. It's about preparation. It's about becoming. It's about being ready when opportunity comes. Because opportunity always favors the prepared mind. You can't demand more money if you're not ready to deliver more value. You can't command a bigger paycheck if you don't command a bigger skill set. You can't expect extraordinary results from ordinary personal growth. So the formula is clear. Become the person who solves bigger problems. Become the person who creates extraordinary value. Become the person who can be trusted with responsibility. Become the person whose judgment, character, and skills are undeniable. And the world will have no choice but to reward you. Don't wish for it. Become it. That's the path to 1,000% more. It's not fast. It's not easy. But it's reliable. It's predictable. It's real. Grow yourself. Upgrade yourself. Become the person the world must pay for. And income, it will follow. It will multiply. It will explode. Because now, you deserve it. Let's talk about leverage. Most people work for money. They trade time for dollars, hours for wages, effort for pay. And it limits them. Because your time is finite. There are only 24 hours in a day. No matter how hard you work, you can't multiply those hours. That's why income has limits, unless you use leverage. Leverage is the secret of high earners. It's the principle that multiplies results. It's the bridge between ordinary income and extraordinary income. Let me explain. Leverage means using resources, systems, and people to amplify your effort. One person can work 8 hours, but a system can work 24 hours. One person can serve 10 clients. A team can serve 1,000. One idea can multiply across thousands of people. Leverage turns effort into impact, and impact turns into income. Early in my life, I thought hard work alone would make me rich. I learned quickly. It only took me so far. The breakthrough came when I learned to leverage. I started delegating. I started building systems. I started using my time and talents to create value that multiplied itself. Here's the key. Leverage is not cheating. It's not laziness. It's not taking shortcuts. It's using what already exists to increase what you can achieve. Books, mentors, networks, employees, technology, ideas, systems, all of these are leverage. If you ignore leverage, your income is capped. But if you embrace it, income can multiply exponentially. Think about the richest people you know. Do they work 100 hours a week? Some do, but most don't. They've created systems. They've built teams. They found ways to scale their value, and that's why their income is so high. It's not magic. It's leverage. Here's another principle. The bigger the problem you solve,